Welcome to the English Story Well channel, your ultimate destination for captivating stories that enhance your English learning journey. Here, we believe that stories are not just a form of entertainment, but a powerful tool to improve your language skills. Let's go to started.
Chapter 1, Arrival at the New School. Amina Khan, a 15-year-old girl from Pakistan, stood at the gates of Westfield High School in London. Her family had recently moved to the UK, and today was her first day at the new school. The school building loomed large and intimidating, and Amina's heart raced with a mixture of excitement and anxiety. Amina's father, Mr. Khan, had accepted a job in London, hoping for a better future for his family. Amina knew that moving to a new country was a big change, but she was eager to embrace new opportunities and experiences. However, as she looked around at the groups of students chatting and laughing, she felt a pang of loneliness and uncertainty. She worried about fitting in, making friends, and most importantly, keeping up with her studies in a new language. Chapter 2, The First Day. As Amina walked through the crowded hallways, she felt a surge of nervousness. She clutched her school map tightly, trying to find her way to her first class. The bell rang, and students hurried past her, making her feel even more lost. Just as she was about to ask for directions, a friendly voice called out to her. "Hey, are you new here?" Amina turned to see a girl with curly brown hair and a warm smile. "Yes, I am," Amina replied, her voice barely above a whisper. "I'm Sophie." "What's your name?" the girl asked. "Amina," she said, her voice a bit stronger this time. "Nice to meet you, Amina." "Let me help you find your class," Sophie offered, glancing at Amina's schedule. Grateful for the assistance, Amina followed Sophie to her first class. As they walked, Sophie chatted about the school, the teachers, and her friends. Amina listened intently, absorbing every word. She was relieved to find someone so friendly on her first day. Chapter 3, The Language Barrier. In her first few weeks at Westfield High, Amina faced several challenges. The biggest struggle was the language barrier. Although Amina had learned English in school back in Pakistan, understanding and speaking it fluently in everyday conversations was a different story. In her English literature class, the teacher, Mrs. Adams, discussed Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet. Amina found it difficult to keep up with the complex language and Old English phrases. She often felt lost and frustrated, unable to participate in class discussions. During lunchtime, Amina sat with Sophie and her friends, but she found it hard to follow their fast-paced conversations filled with slang and idioms she didn't understand. She often smiled and nodded, pretending to understand, but deep down, she felt isolated and embarrassed. Chapter 4, The Struggle with Confidence. As weeks turned into months, Amina's struggle with English affected her confidence. She hesitated to speak up in class, fearing she would make mistakes and be laughed at. Her teachers noticed her silence and often called on her to encourage participation, but this only made her more anxious. One day, during a group project in science class, Amina's frustration reached a breaking point. Her group was discussing their experiment, and Amina had an idea to improve their hypothesis. She wanted to share her thoughts, but was afraid of being misunderstood or making a grammatical error. "Does anyone have any suggestions?" Mr. Thompson, the science teacher, asked. Amina took a deep breath, mustering all her courage. "I think we should, maybe, try a different method," she said hesitantly, her voice trembling. Her classmates looked at her, some with encouraging smiles, others with confusion. Mr. Thompson nodded, waiting for her to elaborate. Feeling the pressure, Amina's mind went blank. She stammered, trying to find the right words, but eventually fell silent. Her cheeks flushed with embarrassment, and she lowered her head, wishing she could disappear. Chapter 5, Finding Help. After the incident in science class, Amina realized she needed help to improve her English and regain her confidence. She decided to speak with Mrs. Patel, the school's guidance counselor. "Mrs. Patel, I'm struggling with my English," Amina admitted during their meeting. "I understand the lessons, but speaking and participating in class is so hard for me." Mrs. Patel smiled warmly. "Amina, it's completely normal to feel this way when you're adapting to a new language and culture. The important thing is that you recognize the need for improvement and are seeking help. Let's work on a plan together. Mrs. Patel suggested several strategies to help Amina improve her English skills. Join the ESL English as a Second Language Club. The ESL Club offered additional language support and a safe space for students to practice English without judgment. Amina would also meet other students facing similar challenges. Daily English practice. Mrs. Patel encouraged Amina to practice English daily, both in and out of school. This included reading English books, watching English TV shows and movies, and speaking English at home with her family. Language exchange partner. The school had a language exchange program where English-speaking students were paired with non-native speakers. Mrs. Patel suggested pairing Amina with a partner to practice conversational English. Chapter 6: Joining the ESL Club. Amina decided to join the ESL Club, hoping it would help her improve her English and make new friends. At her first meeting, she met Mr. Wilson, the club advisor, and a group of students from various countries. "Welcome, Amina. We're glad to have you here," Mr. Wilson greeted her warmly. "In this club, we focus on improving our English through fun activities and discussions. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. We're all here to learn." The club meetings were a breath of fresh air for Amina. They played language games, practiced conversations, and discussed cultural differences. Amina felt more comfortable speaking English in this supportive environment. She also made friends with other students who understood her struggles. Chapter 7: Practicing with a language exchange partner. Through the language exchange program, Amina was paired with James, a friendly and patient student who excelled in English. They met twice a week to practice conversational English. During their sessions, James helped Amina with pronunciation, vocabulary, and grammar. He encouraged her to speak freely and corrected her mistakes gently. Amina's confidence began to grow as she noticed her English improving. "Don't worry about being perfect," James often reminded her. "The more you practice, the better you'll get. You're doing great." Chapter 8: Overcoming the Fear of Speaking. With the support of the ESL Club and her language exchange partner, Amina's confidence improved. She started participating more in class and sharing her ideas without fear of making mistakes. In English literature class, Mrs. Adams noticed Amina's progress. One day, she asked Amina to share her thoughts on a character from Romeo and Juliet. "Amina, what do you think about Juliet's decision to marry Romeo in secret?" Mrs. Adams asked. Amina took a deep breath. "I think Juliet was very brave, but also impulsive. She didn't think about the consequences for herself and her family," Amina said, her voice steady and clear. Mrs. Adams smiled. "Well said, Amina. That's a thoughtful analysis." Amina's classmates nodded in agreement, and she felt a sense of accomplishment. She realized that her hard work was paying off, and her fear of speaking was gradually fading. Chapter 9: Building Friendships. As Amina's confidence grew, so did her social circle. She became closer to Sophie and her friends, who appreciated her kindness and unique perspective. They helped her understand slang and idioms, making it easier for her to follow conversations. One day, Sophie invited Amina to a weekend study group at the local library. The group included students from different classes, and they helped each other with homework and exam preparation. "Amina, you're really good at math. Can you help me with this problem?" asked Ethan, one of the study group members. "Of course," Amina replied, happy to contribute. She explained the math problem step by step, and Ethan thanked her for her help. Amina enjoyed being part of the study group. It gave her a chance to interact with more students and improve her English in a practical setting. She also realized that she had valuable skills and knowledge to offer, which boosted her self-esteem. Chapter 10: Embracing the New Culture. While Amina focused on improving her English, she also embraced the new culture. She participated in school events, joined clubs, and explored the city with her family. One day, the school organized an international food festival where students could showcase their culture through food and performances. Amina and her family decided to participate, cooking traditional Pakistani dishes like biryani.
Whether you're a beginner or an advanced learner, our carefully curated stories cater to all levels, making learning English enjoyable and effective. Join our community of language enthusiasts and let the magic of storytelling transform your learning experience. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell to stay updated with our latest videos. Dive into English Story Well, where every story is a step towards mastering English.